Um, Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Um, it's good to be here. Welcome to the Autism Renewed Conference 2022. I'm so excited to be here for this 3 days conference. If you can hear me, please drop a comment. Let me know where you're joining us from. I'm so excited to have you here. This is the maiden edition of the Autism Renewed Conference, and the theme of this conference is overcoming speech delay. Yes, but just before I invite my our guest speaker for today, I just wanted to say a few things. I know that I have some parents or caregivers here who their children just have speech delay, and some have reached out to me that is this conference only for people that have children diagnosed with autism, or can someone with a child with speech delay also benefit? And what I would always tell them is this: whether your child has just speech delay or your child is diagnosed with autism and struggling with speech and language development, this is the conference for you. You can definitely benefit from this conference, because autism, one of the symptoms or signs that you see in children with autism is speech delay, okay, amongst other things. And when it comes to speech delay, you have to be able to individualize the child and employ strategies to support the child. So it's not per se about a diagnosis, it's about individualizing your child and being able to support your child. Yes, children with autism have other symptoms that have to be put into consideration for the therapy or intervention to be effective. But if your child just has speech delay and does not have autism, or you're not even sure whether or not your child has had an assessment, so you're not sure, it doesn't matter. As long as your child needs support with speech and language development, you're definitely going to benefit. So today, our speaker is here in the studio. So I'm going to be bringing up our speaker. Our speaker today is Dr. Patrick Riedel. Just before I bring on Dr. Patrick, let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Patrick. Dr. Patrick is an autism expert, and he is an expert in supporting children with speech and language development. So he has over 40 years experience of working with children with autism, and especially in developing speech and language. So if you have a child with speech and language challenges, Dr. Pat is the expert that you need to listen to. So he's the founder of the Autism. He's retired as the founder and director of the Rocky Mountain Autism Center in Colorado. He's currently the founder and director of Autism on Call, a training and consultation affiliate of the Rocky Mountain Autism Center. He has more than 40 years of practice in the field of autism spectrum disorder. He has co-authored several books and numerous peer-reviewed articles. Currently, he offers video training series for autism spectrum disorder professionals and parents, and he has an approach known as the learning style profile approach. That is an approach or a program that he designed, and he uses those strategies in supporting children in speech and language development. So I'm going to be bringing Dr. Pat on right now, and he's going to be speaking to us and sharing with us. Dr. Pat, you're
Hello,
very
everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's so great to be here with everyone. And I think your opening comments are very true. One of the things about autism or communication development. So what we'll be talking about today is not the difference between autism and normal child development. We'll be talking a lot about how to get your child ready for school, whether or not your child has autism or communication delays. I think many of these strategies will apply to all families and kids as well. So with that in mind, I developed this short presentation so that as parents, you're like, what do we do? So many parents ask, what do we do? How do we get our children ready for school, to be successful in school, to be able to make and keep friends, to be able to communicate with their friends and in classrooms successfully? And so we'll be touching on some of those strategies today.
Because that's the essence of speech and language anyway, to be able to communicate, to be able to interact, to be able to integrate in school, in environment, in society. So that's that's why most parents get worried anyway, because my child make friends, if they cannot talk, if they cannot communicate, what happens in school when they get back, how do I get feedback, what's happening? So I like the approach that you're coming with. The functionality is not just developing the speech and language, but for it to be functional, to be able to integrate and communicate and interact in the society. So I'll leave the studio for you, and I'll leave you to do your thing, Dr.
Okay.
Pat.
I'll share the screen and make sure everyone can hear me. I'll hopefully this will work. Okay. Hopefully everyone can see and hear me. And so I will start with the presentation. And please let me know if you cannot hear me and not see the screen. So this is the title of the presentation: Getting Your Child Ready for School, Learning Social Communication and Behavioral Skills from Peer Partners. That's going to be our focus today. How do we learn and teach our kids to learn from peer partners? It's a very important strategy that maybe many of us haven't really taken seriously or haven't really addressed. So before we start, what is the Learning Style Profile? This is a program that I developed here in the United States. Learning Style Profile, LSP, is a research-guided intervention approach that identifies 10 ASD or autism learning style components and focuses on moving young children, whether or not you have autism or just communication delays, from learning style weaknesses to learning style strengths in order to build increased and independent capacities in social communication, behavioral development. I'll explain what all that means in just a minute, okay? Just to let you know that this is a research-guided, empirically validated developmental and behavioral approach based on what we call in the US naturalistic developmental behavioral interventions. And these are all the strategies I talk today about are empirically validated. These are best practice. Okay, so with any good intervention program, no matter what you decide to do, I think the beginning question that all parents need to ask is, what is learning? How do I know as a parent whether or not my child is learning? Am I doing enough? Am I doing too much? Am I going down the right road in terms of therapy or intervention? Is there something else I need to be doing? Well, in 40 some years, I think that I have learned that we need to really address the definition of learning before we even start any program or choose a direction for our intervention. What is learning? The LSP suggests that a child will have learned a skill when he or she is able to apply these skills across persons, places, and circumstances, knowing how and when to use the skills that have been learned. So that's the most important part, everyone. Does your child know how and when to use these skills? Or are you, as a mom and dad, as a doctor, as a teacher, as a therapist, are you telling them what to do? If you're telling them what to do, hey, Pat, say hi. Pat, tell me I have to go potty. If you're telling the kids what to do, the question always is in our program, who is doing the thinking? So many of our kids, everyone, they'll comply, they'll imitate what you tell them to imitate. They'll use one or two, maybe three words, maybe later full sentences. But what happens is many kids don't stop, wait, look up, look around, get an idea of how I am supposed to communicate independently and understand when I get to that classroom, when I communicate, I, as the child, am making the decision of how and when to use my communication. Kids that don't talk are the ones who kind of sit back. They're not aware of their environment or their peers, and they're waiting for someone to tell them what to say. Well, many of our kids have good right brain verbal memory and they can repeat what you say, but they really don't get and understand what they're saying because it's your language. You're doing the thinking, you're doing the talking. We'll talk a lot about those strategies that get around or move the child toward more independent learning. And that's the function of today. So the priority for the LSP is for your child to independently learn how and when to use skills without adult direction and prompting. In other words, Pat, say this. Pat, do that. Pat, share your toy. Pat, someone asked you a question, give them an answer. Those kinds of things. All right. So here's something to think about. I'm saying, let's think about this. As parents and teachers and therapists, pay attention to this now, everyone. We will never be able to teach our kids everything they need to know, but we can teach them how to learn. What do I mean by that? Well, sometimes you go to therapy or you feel as a parent or a teacher, oh, there's just so much I have to teach my child. There's not enough hours in the day to be able to teach my child everything they need to know. Teachers are like, oh, we only have our child for so long. Therapists, I have my child only for so long in therapy. There's not enough hours in the day to teach our kids everything they need to know. Well, why do we feel like that? Well, many of us feel we are in charge of our children's learning and we're teaching the child everything they need to know. And our children are just little robots and responding to our teaching. 2 + 2 is 4. Okay, what's the answer? 4. What's the answer? 4. What's 2 + 2? It's 4. And we get into that teaching mode that we know what the correct answer is, and we're trying to teach children correct answers. That's exhausting, and that's a very inefficient way of teaching our kids, especially how to communicate. But we can teach them how to learn so they are the ones who are doing the learning and learning on their own. As we develop these foundations and a learning style, then kids become more independent. And a lot of that pressure that we feel as parents and teachers is off our shoulders because we're teaching our children how to learn. Okay, so as we look forward to some of in the latter years of early childhood, many of the teachers would like these things from our kids as they enter school. Or maybe some of your kids are already in school. Maybe they're in primary grades. Maybe some of you have kids in middle school or high school. They're in primary grades. Okay, somebody can turn off the audio. Just
Sorry, Dr. Pat.
I'm getting
Your slides, we can't see. We can't. The slides are not moving.
The slides are moving.
You have to. The slides are not changing. It's still showing the intro slide.
Okay, I've moved ahead, so I'm on the third slide.
You can't even hear me now.
Yeah, I'm on my third slide now.
No, it's still on the first one. I think maybe you have to manually click it for us.
Um,
Let me go out of the studio. Or if you have a link to the slides, you can send to me and I can help you to share formatting.
okay. Okay, let me get out of this then. I just sent I just sent you on your email, Lola. I sent the link. I just have a PowerPoint slide, Lola. I don't have a link. Okay, there we go. Okay, the next slide. You can enlarge the screen then, because you can, if you could put this into the large screen, the PowerPoint on the PowerPoint program, and just start from the beginning. Maybe just start from the beginning over down here, and then point start program up here. Is there any way to enlarge this screen here, Lola? Up on top here. Okay, well that's fine. We'll just go from there. Okay, that's fine. We'll just go from there. So the next screen, the next slide then, and then the next one, and then the next one. Okay, all right. Well, let's just do it this way. So as your child enters the classroom, this is what your teachers would like your kids to be able to do. So that the teacher doesn't have to be connected at the hip right next to the child, telling them what to do, like talking in their ear. Teachers would like your child independently to be able to look up and look around. In other words, read the room. When you walk into the room, that's what we do. We have the ability to look up, look around, look for all these cues in the environment to help us know what to do. Number two, to notice and become more aware of other classmates and peers. So many kids are so focused on objects, or they're focused on what they're doing, maybe their phone, or they're just so focused on objects that they aren't looking up, looking around, and they miss all this valuable information that's in the classroom, including peers. Number three, we want our children to be able to observe the classmates. Hey, what are you doing? I don't seem to have a plan, but I bet you do. I bet you know how to communicate, child, friend, because you might be a little bit more advanced in your communication right now. So if I don't have a plan, what's my plan? I'm going to pay attention to you. I'm going to observe what you're doing. I'm going to observe what you're saying, how you're saying it, when you're saying it. You, friend, are going to become my mentor. So developing a social game plan is being not told what to do, but to be able to look for peers to be your wingman or your mentor. Okay. And participate and learn from and with peers in a group. Many of our kids who have autism or aren't communicating very well early on are the ones who are sitting back. They're the ones who are kind of quiet with their head down because they don't have a game plan. And that's what we want to do, is develop confidence for these kids. I don't know what to do, but my friend does. Oh, that's it. Okay. But you have to teach these kids how to learn in that way. Okay, next slide, Lola. Next slide. Thank you. So as we get your children ready, go back. There we go. Oh, that's the one. Okay. Thank you. So as we get your child ready for, I have to go back. have to go back. There it is, that one right there. So as we get your child ready for school and for peer success, so it's the next one. Then one more. There we go. That one right there. Thank you. So as we get our child ready for school and peer success, these are our intervention priorities. As parents, teachers, therapists, we want the child to establish a primary focus on people as you enter the room. So when the child walks in the classroom, the child is looking up, looking around. What are my friends doing? That becomes the priority as opposed to paying attention to just objects. And many kids with autism, that's what they do. They pay attention to objects. Okay? We go back. If we can go back a slide. There we go. Thank you. And establish a social priority. Again, instead of what am I going to do with the train, or what am I going to do on the computer? No, what am I going to do with my friends? Because my friends are the ones who are good sources of information about how and when to communicate. Many kids don't have that social priority. You think, well, isn't that just automatic? Don't kids have that? No, that doesn't seem to be the case with many kids. Number 3, we establish a comfort zone and a tolerance that includes adults and peers. What do I mean by that? Well, many kids who are shy or maybe have autism or other kinds of disabilities, they see people coming toward them and they're like, oh, here comes someone to tell me what to do. They're going to grab my hand and force me to do these activities. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. So I'm kind of getting a little anxious. Friends, teachers, adults, you're making me anxious because you're always trying to get me to talk. I don't know what I'm doing. And so that's really not a comfort zone for many of our kids. And so our kids begin to not actually tolerate us because they kind of consider us at times like the big bad wolf. I don't see you as a good source of information, but I see you always trying to tell me what to do and when to do it. And we want to maintain the social glue. This is really important. Many of our kids, in order to make friends, have conversations, understand how to play games, our kids need to be able to glue themselves together with their other friends for longer and longer and longer periods of time. Kids who aren't communicating very well do things really shortly. They come up, hand a ball, and they walk away. That's not going to help them understand how and when to communicate if they can't glue themselves together with their friends for longer and longer periods of time. These are all foundational skills that we teach in the learning style profile. So, primary focus on people, develop a social priority, develop a comfort zone and tolerance, glue yourself together with your friends. That's how you're going to learn language right now and in the future, getting ready for school or beyond school. Number 5, learn from peers as primary sources of information. So many of our kids look at adults for what do I do? And they don't understand that that child sitting right next to them can be just as valuable sources of information in terms of communicating, having a social plan, understanding what's going on in the classroom, because they're only used to working and paying attention to mom and dad or the teacher or the therapist. I've seen many kids get up and walk all the way through the classroom to try to find an adult because that's the way they've been taught. Pay attention just to adults. Instead, we want children to look to the left, to the right, in your circle. These kids right here are going to be important as well to help you understand how and when to communicate. I cannot tell you how many times I've had teachers say to me as I've done consultations, I think this child in my classroom has lots of words, but basically is nonverbal, doesn't communicate at all. And in many cases, everyone, I think the children actually have words. They just don't know how and when to use the words. They don't have the confidence. So if you don't practice that with your friends and learn from your friends, you're not going to get very good at being able to glue yourself together in order to make and keep friends and have conversations. All right. Okay. Next slide, please. So children often lack confidence to jump into and participate in classroom routines due to the complexity of the social exchanges and expectations. Many of our kids aren't really good. Their brains aren't developed socially right now. And that's why we have to work on the social communication. This is kind of like confusing to me. Is there so much going on? I don't know what to do. And what do we do when we get confused? Well, it seems like we might not be interested because we're not establishing eye contact or we're not including ourselves in a group. And so many of our kids get this really bad reputation of not being interested in being with other people. And nothing can be further than the truth. I've been in the field now for 42 years, and I've seen very, very few kids who aren't actually interested in being with others. That's not the case. That's that bad reputation that many of our kids get, and it's unwarranted. But what I do see is kids not confident. I don't have a plan. So how do we get confidence? How do we move beyond this anxiety of being with others? We develop a game plan. Again, I don't have a game plan as a child, but I bet my friends do. All right, next slide. So what I'm going to show you is two videos. And Lola, you'll have to click on the links there. The first one is, let me just set this up. We've developed about 13 autism programs in China based on the learning style profile. And this is a video of some of the kids, young kids, learning how to be with others, learning how to learn from their peers. So what you will see in just a minute are teachers showing and modeling and demonstrating how to play this game. I'm the coach. Watch me. It's just like any sport. Watch me. I'm going to show you and model and demonstrate how to play with this game. All right. Your job, child, is to look up, look around. Oh, coach, what are you doing? What's your game plan? How do you glue yourself together? What's your social priority? So the children then are exposed to the coach's models and demonstrations. And then what we do is we remove an adult and replace it with the peer. So now kids are interacting with each other based on a previously established, what we call joint action routine. So let's watch this video of this progression with two adults starting to model and demonstrate, the adults getting replaced by peers, and now the peers have a game plan, but now they're not just interacting with the adults, now they're interacting with each other. I'm confident I have an idea of how and when to use my social communication skills. Now, these kids, just to let you know, happen to have autism, but they're not really verbalizing at this point. So many of you in the audience today may have kids at this age or maybe older kids, but they're not yet using verbal language. Communication intervention is not all about teaching kids to imitate words. That's a fallacy. Don't let people talk you into that. Children have to learn how to glue themselves together first as a foundation. Once they learn how to be together, now we put words on top of that to be able to use words to communicate what they have done previously non-verbally. Many therapists and teachers and parents skip that first step. They want to go right into verbal imitation. Well, many of our kids can imitate, but they still don't know how have a plan. They might be able to read all these words. Well, that's not going to get them anywhere. So this is the foundation in as we build the glue in this video. So let's take a look at that. Okay, let me see if I can click on this. If you give me the control, I'll click on this.
Should I put you back on?
I'll talk a little bit about this. The children are looking at this activity from a distance, sitting down along the wall. They've been watching the coaches play the game, and now the teacher is inviting both children at this point to recreate the activity that they have just been modeled and demonstrated.
We can't see the video.
You cannot see the video.
No. Can you see from your end?
I can see the video, but
I think you need. Okay, let me stop sharing. Then you share. Sorry, I think that's what happened. I've stopped sharing. Then you can share your screen.
okay, can you see the screen? Can you see it now?
Not yet.
Okay, can you see it now, Lola?
No.
Okay.
Maybe can you put the link in the chat so that I'll click it from my end. You can copy and put it in the chat. There's a private chat there.
It's a private link, so I'm the one who will have to Okay, can you see it now?
No. Okay, yeah, I've seen the link in. Let me try to click it from my end and
It's
share
a
my screen.
it's a private link, so I don't think you'll be able to get on it. It's on YouTube. It's a private link.
Okay, let me try. See. Yes, it's not allowing me. It said the video
Yeah,
is private. Yeah.
it's a yeah, I wasn't aware of that. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So,
Well,
but if
maybe
you
let's just do questions and answers at this point.
I would love them to see those videos because I've seen some
Okay.
of your kids and they're
Let me
really. If you click on it in the comment, would it not show?
let me see if I can hold on just a second. I'm going to go to YouTube and see if I can change the status.
Okay. 'Cause I've seen some of the kids you worked with from childhood to teenage years, and they're pretty amazing. I think people would really need to see them.
Okay. Okay, I think you can try that now.
Yes, it's working now. So let me just share.
Okay.
I'll take you out of the studio. Or okay, no, let me add so I can you can talk about. I'll just
I'm gonna
add.
put this.
Um, can you see my screen?
I can see your screen. Yes. There we go. Okay. Can you go? Yeah, back to the beginning. Okay. All right. So let me show you what's going on. So if you can stop it, Lola. So basically, here's what I want to say in a nutshell. Anything you want your child to say, anything you want your child to do, you don't tell them. You don't say, sit here, roll this, catch that. You don't do that with these kids. You model and demonstrate ahead of time so that they can look up, look around, see you as a valuable source of information, watch you play the game. Oh, that's the game plan? Okay. Now you replace adults and you put peers in the adult's place. It's the same learning style. I don't have a plan. I don't know what to say, but I bet you do. Okay, you're my wingman. You're my mentor all day, every day. How do you start that process so they're successful in using that learning style in the classroom? With these kinds of therapies. The two adults are modeling and demonstrating, and then you replace them with kids one at a time, or in this case, both kids, and watch the kids gradually understand how to glue themselves together. They're not talking yet, but that's okay. Don't force them to talk because they're not ready to yet. Later, we'll put language on top of the same activity so the child knows what to say and how to say it. So let's watch the beginning stages of this foundational learning. Should be sound with that too. Should be sound button there too, Lola, if you can find that.
What's that? You said a sound button?
There should be sound with that video.
There's sound. You can't hear me? You can't hear
Oh,
the sound?
no, I can't, but that's okay.
Oh, okay. Maybe because I muted myself.
Okay.
Is there sound? Dr. Pat, was there sound?
No, I didn't hear any
There's
sound.
sound. Wow.
There we go.
没啦，什么？
Okay, Lola, can you play the next video? Then I'll discuss each one after you watch the second video.
Elizabeth and Mary, they're so unique and in a number.
Is it okay now? Sound? Is there sound?
Yes.
I think it's not showing. 1 second.
Okay. These are the same two children. I'll explain both of these in just a minute.
没有了，完了，可劲儿帮妈妈一起说吧，来，一起说。有3只脚趾头纹。
Okay, that's good. Okay, we can stop sharing the screen, the videos. Then we can just share the screen at this point, Lola.
Okay. Your screen?
Yes,
I mean,
just you and I. We don't need
oh,
just
okay.
you and me. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I know we only have just a few minutes left, but here's what I want to show you when it comes to those videos.
Mhm.
These two children did not even know that the other children existed, that the other one existed. They
Okay.
would go to a room and play by themselves with toys. And in these videos, you saw what we call joint action routines. And some families will be like, well, wait a minute. We don't need to teach my child to bowl. We need to teach my child to communicate or to make friends. The bowling was just the activity. That was just the glue that stuck them together. What you saw with these two children is that my actions are related to your actions, which are related to my actions. When I put the pin on the table, you rolled the ball. And then we did it again. I was looking up, looking around, waiting for you. And my actions were contingent on yours. And so when you look at conversation and making friends, think about what a conversation is. I start the conversation, you listen, you add to what I just said, I will add to what you just said. We keep this maintaining reciprocal exchange going and going and going. That's called a topic. That's how kids glue themselves together. But what conversation is just a higher form of this bowling game that we just watched. So when we're talking and exchanging ideas and staying on topic, this is the same thing we're doing down here with these kids. The bowling is the topic. And I'm rolling when you're placing the pins, and then we're exchanging rolls so that you can start and I respond to you. This is the same thing that children need in terms of foundational development to make and keep friends and to have conversations. Without these foundations, everyone, our children will not have a game plan of how to glue themselves together. Without gluing yourself together, you're not going to be able to learn from your friends over a period of time instead of just these real quick hitters. And it's a lifelong strategy for children to say, I don't know how to talk, but you do. I need my mentor. You're my mentor. When I don't have a plan, am I going to get anxious and nervous and go sit in the corner with my head down and play with objects? No. I'm going to look up, look around, find some of my friends, become part of what they're doing. And it's a lifelong learning strategy that children will learn from each other as mentors, as wingman, and not have to rely on you, mom and dad, to teach them everything they need to know and all the words that go with making and keeping friends. This example that I just showed you, they were actually talking in Mandarin. I don't understand Mandarin. I have no idea. But what I do know is that no matter what language you speak, no matter from what country you speak, these are the foundations that you need. And once you have these foundations, you lay your own language on top of these joint action routines. And those are the foundations for communication. So if I'm you with as families, and I'll take questions and answers in just a second, this is where I put my money. This is the focus that I use for my child who is not communicating at this point, who might have a speech delay and or autism, learning disability, things of this nature. Developing a social plan is the key for our kids beginning to communicate. Once they start verbalizing, then we have those words laid on top of these activities. I've done this tiered system and developmental system for over 40 years. And what we have found, everyone, is that when children have the confidence to glue themselves together, these are the kids who make and keep friends. These are the kids who are independent in the classroom. If we don't have these foundational skills developed and our children don't have confidence, they are the ones who are sitting back in their seats in the back of their room with their head down, and a teacher or a paraprofessional or teacher aide telling them what to do, how to do it. And the children tend not to become independent. And if there's one thing that families tell me all the time when their children are teenagers, oh my, I wish I would have done that when my child was young, because now they're 16, 17, 18 years of age, and they still are anxious and nervous with people, and they don't seem to have a game plan of how to make and keep friends. So what we do down here, what you just saw in the videos, is the same thing kids are going to be doing up here in adolescent. It's just at a higher developmental level. There's more to it than that, but this is just a starting of saying anything you want your child to do or communicate, have others do first, and teach them how to look up, look around, take advantage of these cues in the environment. That's your game plan. That's your confidence. That's your comfort zone. That's your tolerance. It's something to consider when you're looking for what to do with your kids, what approach to use to get many kids to start talking, and with the end result of being successful in school. So at that point, Lola, I'll take some questions from the audience, either live or text questions. I'll stick around for another 15, 20 minutes if you would like.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pat. It's great to I've followed your program, what you do. I've seen the videos, but to watch it again and again, I mean, it's just always amazing. I remember one of the kids. I know you've worked with so many kids, but there's one that I saw. I can't remember her name, maybe Emily or something, in one of your videos. And you had her as a little girl. I think she was about 3 or 4. She wasn't talking, she wasn't interacting, and it was this same strategy that you used. You taught her mom how to. I remember you taught them even with little activities that they could do at home. I think you got some gloves or balloons, you put some water with a little bowl. You
Probably.
got. I'm sure you know what I'm talking. You got mom to do it. She was imitating, and what amazed me was that you worked with her for, of course, a number of years, and you have a video of her as a teenager, and
Oh,
she sat down with, I think, with one of your therapists or one of the professionals that work with you, and they were having a conversation. And you can't actually even put it together that this the same little girl that
Yeah.
had no words, and you said something. You were like, I never taught her to talk. And I
Never
was
did.
like, I never sat down to teach her how to talk.
Right.
But you created a strategy that helped her be able to look up, look around, imitate, and you modeled it for her, and she was able to. I mean, if you when I saw her talking, and she was talking about school, I think she was talking about, maybe I think she was graduating from high school or something. She was asking her
I
lots
think I
of
know who you're
questions.
talking about.
I
Yeah.
mean, it was really, really amazing, and to know that this actually works. So I'll
Yeah,
just
her mom. I think the girl you might be talking about. She moved away. I live in
yes,
Colorado, and she
yes,
moved to Texas.
yes.
And her mom called me, and she goes, she won't stop talking, and she has boyfriends, and they're calling her all the time on the phone, and this and that. But what you did notice, I hope what you noticed,
Yes.
was that the teachers in these videos, they only assisted when there was some kind of a breakdown. They didn't
Mm,
put themselves right in the middle, because when
mm,
when we as adults and therapists and parents place ourselves right in the middle of these activities, our kids are going to be looking at us for all this
mm,
help. And
mm,
I guarantee you, the parents who are watching, you
mm.
have a really hard time not telling your kids what to do and what to say.
What to say?
And it's just natural. It's not anybody's fault, Lola.
Mm,
It's just what we do as parents. But many of our kids, that's not a really good way to teach communication. And I think you're talking about a little girl who went from being nonverbal
yes.
to being like this, prom queen, and
Yeah.
having boys ask her out. And the topics that she was talking about, I don't know, it was like football parties or something. I forgot what it was, but that was her topic. Now you look at these young kids, Lola,
Mm,
and what was the topic? The topic was the bowling game. So the
mm.
bowling game was the topic.
Topic. Yes.
A child on autism, and who also
Some questions here. Yeah.
behavior or modeling to them. Okay, so that's a really good question. Um, So sometimes children have autism, but and ADHD. Oftentimes it looks like ADHD, but it's just the lack of focus, and because they haven't worked on maintaining interaction with other people for extended periods of time. So one of the things that we do early on is, when we're in our therapy rooms, we do an interesting activity, some motivational or sensory type activity that the child might be interested in. And what we do is the child eventually starts coming toward us. They come toward us. We don't go to them. I never go to a child, pull them over, sit them down, and say, pay attention. But what we do is we have interesting activities, invite curiosity, develop the social priority first. Without this social priority and curiosity and watching and orienting toward us, these children are going to look like they have ADHD. Why? Because we're not important. This is more important than watching you. So we actually become competition for their attention, because our children are looking all over because they don't have a plan. And
Mm,
so it looks like they have attention deficit disorder. They might, but oftentimes they don't. So when we start off with working with kids, either young kids or maybe even older kids, Lola, this is really the interesting thing. I always taught my therapist, don't talk.
mm.
Play charades. You know the game charades?
No.
Where you are pantomime, when you pantomime something, like we get together, Lola, you and I get together, we have a couple other adults in the room, and we recreate or pantomime, I don't know, going out to eat, or playing a game or whatever, but nobody can talk. Nobody can talk. For those of you who have older kids, what this does, it stops you from talking to the kids, telling them what to do. It requires the child to look up, look around, pay attention to their friends, because if they don't pay attention, they won't know how to participate. You'd be surprised when we get anxious and nervous, and kids do too. We get very chatty. Start talk. We get very, very chatty. Doing nonverbal pantomime and charade games for older kids is a really good therapy strategy, so that they understand the social glue of how to interact. And then later we replace it with words, and we include words in those games. Okay.
So for this kind of child, working on, first of all, the social priority, where you can get the child to come to you, then you have the attention, then you use the joint attention routine of the play, then you now build language on top of that.
And what happens too, Lola, is that many families have a focus on do this correct, do it correct. I'm going to teach you what to do. Now you need to do it correctly. And I'm going to keep shaping your behavior till you get it right. And our kids who aren't good at the social interaction anyway, they're like, it's too much. You're not motivating for me to be around, because you want me to do things correctly all the time. And we're actually working against children wanting to be with us. If we're so worried about screwing this on right, then we're actually going backwards with our kids. Now, there's a difference between interacting and participating. Most therapists want kids, again, say this word, do this correctly, and I'm going to shape your behavior. But participation, Lola, okay, like if I came to Australia, if I came to your house, and I'm not familiar with Australian or African or Chinese, whatever, what do? You're not going to tell me what to do. You're going to be my wingman, and I'm going to come to your house, and I'm going to understand how to have dinner at your home. I've never been there before, right?
Yes.
And so I'm just participating. And you're not like, Pat, you're not eating correctly, or you're not doing this correctly, or, how welcome would I feel in your home if I did that, right? I'd be like, I don't really want to be here, right? So it's the same thing with kids with autism at that early age, just participating in those early sensory activities. You saw that bowling game? That was a hot mess, really, that bowling game, because the ball was bouncing on the floor, and, they had, and they were going out of turn. But I told the teachers, do not correct their behavior for correctness. Have them participate. You can orchestrate making sure the game moves on, but don't stop the kids to make sure that they're doing it exactly correctly the first few times. Later on, sure, you can make it look better and you can get more toward correctness, sure. But don't worry about that at the very beginning. You're absolutely going to lose the kids. That's why many of our kids lose their attention, because they're just like, oh, this is too hard. All I want to do is leave. We think we're doing the right thing, Lola, but actually we're creating more anxiety. More anxiety, the less communication.
Okay. So while I wait any other question, I have a few questions for people that have kids that are a little bit older, maybe like 12 or 13, and they're still non-verbal. What kind of how can they adapt these strategies as well?
Well, if they're nonverbal, you first of all have to figure out why they're nonverbal. Do they have apraxia or dysarthria? Do they have some kind of neurological issue as well? Is that why they're not communicating? And so, by the way, with some of these younger kids, watch this, everyone. Watch this. When we want the kids to look up, look around, and watch us, what we're doing, part of this, when we do introduce words, we want to have them focus on our mouth, how to say words. So, for instance, and you take your finger like this. Everyone in the audience can do that. Go from your left side of your mouth to the right side and go, mom, mom. Now they're focusing on your mouth, and you begin to facilitate that kind of oral motor accuracy with some words. So that's what you can do. But for older kids, we can do the same thing, Lowell. It's just at a higher developmental level. So for instance, if I want to play some kind of a game with you as a 15-year-old, you do a 15-year-old version of that. All right. So whatever a 15-year-old plays developmentally, that's what you do, but do it non-verbally first. Non-verbally first. Then when you get good at the game, you've played it a number of times, back and forth reciprocation, then you start introducing words. Now, if they can't say words, now you look at augmentative communication. Now you look at electronic devices because maybe they can't motorically say words. But I would venture to say most kids who have autism or who have communication delays at that level, they're capable of communicating. They just don't have a plan of how and when. If, though, they do have motor issues, then we look at augmentative communication. And and some of these devices now, Lola, are amazing how quick kids can learn how to communicate. They already know what they want to say. They just need a platform for the synthesized voice to be able to communicate for them.
I wanted to ask, in terms of things like AAC, augmentative devices, or teaching sign language and things like that. What do you think about things like that?
Well,
And
sign language.
Yes.
Yeah, more and more people know sign language, but the problem with sign language, though, Lola, is that very few people out in the community know sign language. I mean, for the people who have sign language, sure, it's great. Now, we all communicate with gestures. Come here, no, thank you, yes, no, pointing. We all communicate with those. Yes, build those into every communication program. That's part of the pantomime game that I'm talking about. We're using a lot of gestures and what we call reenactments. We're recreating, and we're trying to give the other person the message without saying any words. So yes, we're using our body and our hands, things of this nature. Okay. Augmentative communication is much better because you and I can sit down and look at a device and be able to see what the person is pointing at and have an idea, because there's a picture or a word, and how to create sentences on a device. And it's very user friendly when adolescents get out into the community.
Okay. Well, how easy is it to fade or to progress with those things?
It's very good. Some families actually, Lola, will be scared. Oh, if I introduce my augmentative system, then they're not going to talk. It's just the opposite. That's why they call it augmenting, because it gives the kids confidence of communicating. And now I've got that part down. Now it gives me the opportunity to work on how to say it verbally. Okay. Kids don't want to stay with the augmentative. They want to progress on to verbal language. Most do. Some can't because of a head injury or something of that nature, and they're just not able to because their left frontal lobe has been damaged. Or some kids have dysarthria where they can't control their mouth and things of this nature. It's very hard for them to produce words. That's a different issue. But most kids who are developmentally delayed using augmentative, it actually promotes verbal language. I will I could give you thousands of articles that will support that statement.
And I wanted to ask, just before you go, what examples of activities that parents can do at home? Because I know I have quite a number of people here who may not have easy access to consistent therapy, and
Okay,
they are the major caregivers. So maybe example of toys or activities that they can do at home to begin to implement these strategies with their kids.
sure. Yeah. Okay, let me just give you a real simple activity, and I think all the audience can understand this. Anything you want your child to do or say, mom and dad, you do it first. Okay, so for instance, we're eating a snack at the table, right? And when we get done, instead
Yeah.
of mom or dad, you saying, "Okay, we're done now. Go put your dishes in the sink," and start talking, and telling kids what to do, what to do, what to do, what to do all the time. What you want to do is anything you want the child to do, you do it first. So, dad, when you are finished with your snack, you get up and you put your dishes in the sink. Mom, you do the same thing. How do you know what to do, mom? Because you've watched dad. When you're done, then I will go. Now, the young child, will look at mom and dad as two coaches or models before them. And the child then will go, oh, okay. First of all, we're done. This is how and when you finish snack. This is what to do. Here's my game plan. So anything you want your child to do, you do it first non-verbally. Then what you can do once the child understands, oh, this is how we're cleaning up. Mom goes first, dad goes first, then mom, then me. Now you start introducing words that represent what you're doing. Oh, all done, dishes sink, daddy done, mom done, Pat done, etc. Okay, things of this nature. So you start introducing words that represent what the child already knows non-verbally. So if I have one suggestion, build this into day-to-day routines, whether it's finishing with a snack, making your bed, playing with toys. Don't give the children toys. Don't go like this. Here, and you give them a toy because it's all over. They're going to be playing with the toy. Introduce new activities by stop, wait, look up, look around, Lola. What am I doing? Watch me. I'm going to model and demonstrate. You come this way, participate. Eventually, we get into this back and forth, like we saw in the video, extending out the playtime. Once the child understands how to play or what the activity is, now is when you introduce words one at a time, and then two words, mix and match. Pat shoe, Lola shoe, mommy shoe, and you start mix and matching those words. Shoe foot, shoe box, shoe whatever, and you start mixing and matching those words to develop 2, 3, 4 word utterances, things of this nature.
Okay. Do we have any questions? We have to let Dr. Pat go. We have just 2 minutes to take any more questions before we let you off. Let me just see in the group or here on Facebook. Let me see in the chat. Do you have any questions? Any more questions before we let Dr. Pat go today? Okay, I think No question.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope this made sense. It's more of it's Lola. I'll leave you with this. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Step 1, 2, 3. It's more of an approach. It's a mindset of how kids learn. And once you adopt that kind of an approach, I think you'll see kids much more confident and will be able to communicate at a much higher level, as opposed to you feeling responsible to teach children every word that they know. I'll leave you with that.
So just before you go, Dr. Pat, someone is asking for your YouTube channel so you can share some of your resources. Dr. Pat has some training videos that are easy with a lot more strategies than what he's sharing. You will see practical things that he made those videos for parents, for caregivers. You can watch them and use to support your kids. So I want him to share some of his Dr. Pat, how can they find some of the programs or resources or things that you have? We have some people asking.
Look under Northern Speech.
Sorry?
I have.
Yeah, okay.
There's
Nothing.
a website right there that I have a lot of training videos on.
Yes.
For
And also your Vimeo. Those your Vimeo videos as well.
I have Vimeo too, and cross-reference my name with Vimeo. And then northernspeech.com has a whole training series. It's called this. This is the training series.
Trying to copy. I'm trying to see if I can copy. If I can copy. Oh no, Dr. Pat, you're sending it to me. I want you to send it into the comment section. So yeah. Put in the comment. Not in the chat. Yes, the comment section.
Yeah, that's the series. Okay, so who's doing the thinking? Okay, so I'll send that to you.
Okay, yes, I'll share the links to Dr. Pat's resources, the video to trainings and some courses that you can just watch and really learn a lot of things and how you can. And you also see example of children that he has worked with.
Right.
You would actually see, when they started working with the kids, you will see how step by step, how the kids progressed and went on to do so well.
And I'm this summer I'm developing a 10-hour course too that will be on northernspeech.com. So if you're interested, but it's coming down the road. But anyway, so I'll send those to you, Lola. Thank you very much, and I hope this made sense. I know we had some technical issues, but we only had an hour. But hope at least you can take a couple things with you today. So.
Thank you, Dr. Pat. And we're saying thank you. We appreciate you. We have to let you go now. Thank you so much. Dr. Pat is is early morning where he is. He had to get up very early to be here, and we do appreciate you. Thank you so much.
All right. Bless you too. Thank you, Lola.
See you soon.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Sorry about the little hitches here and there, but I'm sure we were able to learn, quite a number of things from the way Dr. Pat was able to break it down to the easy strategies and how you can walk your child and teach them to talk or help them to talk and not just putting words in their mouth. Yes. He's working with kids with autism for over 40 years. So he's worked with lots and lots of kids. Some kids, I've seen some of the kids he worked with who were diagnosed with autism, had no words, and he worked with them from when they were little. If you see some of his programs, you actually see the real clients, real kids. You see the child as a 3 or 4 year old, the child is not talking, has no words. And you will see that same child, he works with the child, you see that child as a 13-year-old actually talking, having a conversation, and you wouldn't even believe it's the same child. So he's worked with lots and lots of kids, both with a diagnosis and without a diagnosis. So he has a lot of experience. Sorry about that. Your question just came up, but yes, that the answer is because I know that he's worked with lots of kids. For over 40 years, he's been in that field, in the field of autism. So thank you, everyone. Do we have any questions? Thank you for joining us. Today is day 1. We're just getting started. And tomorrow, we're going to have another guest tomorrow. And on Saturday, I'm going to be here. Tomorrow, a guest we're having this time around is going to be a parent that has walked this road as well to move their child from little or no words to language explosion as well. They've walked this road, they are walking this road, and they have lots to be able to share, with us. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Yes, I will share access to his channel, his videos, his resources. I'll share that in the group. I'll share the links um to in the group. So thanks everyone, and do have a good day, whether it's morning, it's afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. You have a good day and see you tomorrow. Bye everyone.